We are going to discuss about Muturi. I want to discuss about Muturi. We are discussing from a side. We have no inside information. So even as I will be uploading this, if I will be uploading this video, things may change. Things may be altered and whatever, and the truth may come out. But we try to make an informed decision. Observation. I have had issues with people where you comment something, later you are either right or wrong. If you are wrong, you find somebody telling, but you said this and this, it didn't come out the way you said it. Or another one, I say something and it happens the way I've said it and said, we know you are an inside of the government. And that is why the government is using you to pass out information. Mine is just an estimation, an opinion. It may turn out to be true, it may not turn out to be wrong, even though over 86% of my observations have happened. And I remember there's even a time when the NIS had instructed their people not to meet with me because they would meet me and I go to a TV station, talk something, and then they say, it is you who, how did he know what is happening within the closed doors? But later on, I think a few months ago, I went to Anniversary Towers to inquire about university funding, and I was welcomed. So I was busy taking the tea that I forgot to ask why the change. But as a trained NIS, I would tell you, don't ask a question if you don't want a disappointment. You see, I would have asked a question why they changed their attitude, and he would answer me the way I was trained. Tell him anything so long as you convince him. There is no guarantee that whatever answer he would have given me would have been right. Now let's go to Muturi. Why all this? Can I explain and whatever? Well, let me guess. And my guess may be right or may be wrong. I want to say that I replayed his speech at Serena Hotel, where he was mad about abduction and whatever. There is something that I saw, maybe I want to communicate with you. Some of the unspoken messages are usually louder than the spoken messages. If you see the flow of wording, the way he was talking, that letter at one point or another, he had drafted. You remember he's a lawyer. Actually, in the university, he used to share the same room with Speaker Wetangula. They used to share the same hostel with Wetangula, roommates. So he's a lawyer. He ended up as a magistrate. He ended up as a politician, even up to being a speaker. So he knows how the law takes issues with wordings. A lawyer to write anything, he places his things, he places his topics in a very, very, structured manner. And I replayed his speech. One thing I read was the initial draft a resignation letter? I don't know whether you are getting me. It flows that way until you expect him to say that, consequently, I am resigning. But he didn't say that. So, is this the original letter? Was it a resignation and he changed, or was he sending a message to more than one person of intention to resign? Remember, just as me and you, we are trying to read between the lines, everybody in the political arena is also trying to read between the lines. The government, by government I mean Ruto, people like Rigiji, I'm very sure that each and every interested party, they have been reviewing that video to see. Now, if he resigns or if he's kicked out, either he was resigning or even is trying to give the government a chance to kick him out, such and such a thing. But if he later ends out of the government, then you remember he comes from the mountain. And which side of the mountain? The east of the mountain. Embu side. Is he yeah, Embu or Meru? But then let us talk of the east. He's a Mumeru, I think. What effect will it have? Remember, if we come to politics, Muturi cannot be compared to Kindiki. Muturi cannot be compared to Kindiki, although both are lawyers and both are, their kind of politics is more of a gentleman type of politics than confrontational. But I would guess that Muturi is more confrontational and he has stamina more than Kindiki. So by him getting out of the government, would he join up with Rigiji or would he start another front? Of course, Rigiji is by now is preparing a welcoming cake. His welcoming cake should he join Rigiji in opposing the government. And on the other hand, should he leave the government and not join Rigiji, it is possible that he may start a very weak third influence. Obviously, I would expect a person like Ruto to hope for, if he cannot retain him, which appears to be the case now. If Ruto cannot retain him, I would suspect that Ruto would wish him to start a third front, even though the third front would be very weak. Why? Because if you look at the mountain, it is the strongest single basket. Now, if the okay, I don't know how much has gone, but something has gone. Now, if Ruto cannot keep Muturi in his camp, then the second option that Ruto would prefer, is that Muturi starts a third front. On his part, Rigiji, I'm sure, is very happy. I said he's preparing a cake to welcome him and champagne. But Rigiji would prefer Muturi stays with Ruto than start a third front. Remember, in as many as people form different functions in the mountain, the greatest loser is Rigiji. Because Rigiji, his type of politics is that he wants to dominate the mountain. After dominating the mountain, he would want to get leaders from other areas, who dominate, so that they form a summit of regional leaders. So if there is somebody else who's going to chip to eat into the mountain cake, Rigiji would not be that way. Now we also go to the situation where I want to guess about Muturi's political transaction. Muturi, first of all, I don't think that in future he can make any strong, he can I say directly that I don't see him contesting for the presidency. I don't see him contesting for the presidency. I would guess that he's disappointed because of the transaction that he has been dismantled. The transaction that he had has been dismantled. What was his transaction and whatever? If he would have known that things would be the way they are, most probably he would have wanted to continue being the Speaker of the National Assembly. He probably would have wanted that. But in the last parliament, this is what he did. This is what he must have done. He must have reasoned that if he joins the government as an attorney general, he will have covered all the three arms of the government. He would have covered all the three arms of the government. How am I saying so? He's a lawyer. Being a lawyer, and that is what he went to do in the university. So being a lawyer, he has already been in the judiciary. And even being in the judiciary, there's a time when he was a magistrate. So the three arms of the government, one of the arms is the judiciary. He has covered that by being a lawyer and being a magistrate. The second arm of the government is the parliament. He has been in the parliament. He has been in the parliament as an MP. He has been in parliament, if I'm not wrong, as a cabinet minister. And he has been in the parliament as the speaker. So, the second arm of parliament, which does the legislation, he has been there. He has been in the judiciary, he has been in the legislation. What he had not gone through was the executive. Now, executive comes in two forms. If you are not a running mate, the executive comes in two forms if you are not a running mate. There is the cabinet secretary. That according to him, it did not work well because when he was there in the former constitution, he was a minister as well as an MP. So there is nothing new he was going to gain there is nothing new that he was going to gain as a cabinet minister, a cabinet secretary. So he must have bargained. Yeah, bargain is the word that is getting out. He must have bargained to be the AG, the Attorney General. Being an Attorney General, he was a member of the executive. What's more, being the Attorney General, he had other things such as being a member of the National Security and Advisory Committee. So if he would have continued that way, he had already cleared all the three arms. He was the third one, which I'm now talking about, is the the executive. To him, or even to me, or let me say to me, I consider cabinet secretary to be lower than attorney general. Why? Because how many cabinet secretaries are there? And again, Muturi previously was a cabinet minister, and a cabinet minister is answerable to a speaker. So he wanted to join. the executive at that level, that prestigious level. So he went on, his plans were okay. But then, in a government, any government, uh, there are usually several syndicates which are, in a government, there is usually several syndicates that are fighting against each other. You may find that, let us say, the current president, there could be team A, which wants to dominate him. Then there is team B, also wants to dominate him. And each one, they have intra and inter competition within the government. And I would want to say that these people, because Muturi looks to me as somebody who doesn't form groups and whatever to fight the inter or intra fights, that people may have wanted him out. And that is how it was planned during the JI-TENGE protest to abduct his son. Up to this time, there is no evidence of his son being connected to JI-TENGE. Even he himself has said that being a member of NSAC, you may find yourself in such a way that you learn a lot about people surrounding you. I'm saying so because when I was working for the special branch, I could read intelligence reports about people who are very close to me. But Omerta had it that you meet that person, but you do not know. I mean, not you do not tell the person, and you just behave normally. They were good in that you don't write intelligence reports on people who are closely related to you or close friends of yours. But you get all the information, and that is why Muturi had to ask to know. Just like any parent, he wanted to know what wrong his son has done. Maybe as a father, even after the son has been found, maybe as a father, he can tell the son, you did this wrong and whatever. But anyway, all arms of the NSAC were saying they do not know. I've already spoken on that. I'll try to avoid it, but I'm saying that when the Inspector General of Police and also the Commissioner General of Prison both say that they are not holding those people, they are right. They are those people who are doing it. And so that thing was meant, thing was meant to, I've seen it even in the police service, that somebody around here differs with a police officer, and then the following day, or the police just keeps it to himself. One day when there is a raid here for Changa or anything, the person is picked from his house, brought into the Changa team, and then he's told to run, and then he's shot. Then the story comes that he was partaking Changa and they tried to run away, something like that. So the abduction of the kid was aimed at him. It was aimed at him. All evidences that I have now, points out that the kid, there's no evidence of him having done those funny things that the kids were doing, like the things that we are telling youths not to respect elders. And then he himself spent the whole night trying to do that. So whoever kidnapped the kid was not in the JI-TENGE. The kid was just kidnapped, like what I've just said, that around here, the day they come for the raid to get Changa people, they'll come and pick you and place you among the people and do whatever they want. So that is that. What Muturi may have noticed, or what Muturi is supposed to be told, there are some things that happen, and then you know that your days are over. Rigathi Gachagua told us the other time that you are removed from the WhatsApp group. So when you find a lot of things happening that way, then you get yourself being placed in such a way that you should know that you are going. So it is in such a situation that Muturi reached a place and decided to do that. Decided to now talk publicly. I would be shocked if Muturi continues being the AG for being a cabinet secretary for several months from today. I expect any time either he's kicked out or he kicks himself out. But even if he kicks himself out, it would be that he has been kicked out. It's just like you reaching somewhere and you're given a rope to hang yourself. You cannot run away. People are surrounding you with the guns and say, can you take that rope and hang yourself? I wanted to say the last thing before we finish this episode is that I did not notice it, but I'm supposed to have noticed it. Did you know that? Did you see that after Gen C, the cabinet was, apart from the chief cabinet secretary, the cabinet was dissolved, including the AG. That one doesn't happen. That one doesn't happen. Uh, the cabinet is supposed to be, what do you call, the cabinet is supposed to be dissolved, but the AG remains. Of course, the deputy president remains because the president cannot, the president, for you to get out of the seat of the president, of the deputy president, you have to be impeached or you have to resign. So the dissolving of the cabinet, the president could decide one, two, or whatever, but declaring that even the AG position is vacant, that was sending a very, very strong message. And then when the AG was removed and anything, I think there was a lot of negotiations there. That you see the type of course, the AG was to come back, because if you look at it very well, and it is something that I've noticed, that all people who dissolved their political parties, no, all those people who went to, not to dissolve, all those people who joined the UDA with their political parties were retained in one way or another. A person like Moses Kuria, I think he had a political party, such and such a thing. So Muturi also came with the Democratic Party. So getting him out was a bit challenging, because you have to look. He came, and that is what Rigiji was saying, that things didn't work out well for the mountain people because they joined UDA. They would have just come with another party so that they join UDA and then they form a coalition. He's saying that that is a mistake they must have done. But Muturi came with his party, and that is why it was a bit hard to kick him out or anything. You can see people like Maendeleo Chap Chap and such a thing. So that is how I'm seeing. But am I seeing him being very effective in the future as a political heavyweight? I do not see him being effective in the future. I think he has passed his sell by date. Thank you. Till next time.